Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Engineering Corps Career Pathway session. We're so excited to have you guys here today. Um, Today, we're going to be talking about the Civil Engineering Corps and the benefits that are provided to you. I am Shaniqua Dupree, the Talent Acquisition Program Manager for the United States Navy. And today, I have a special guest I'm going to introduce to you to kick off this session. So today, we have here Lieutenant Caleb Osborne. He is the Civil Engineering Corps officer in the United States Navy. Um, he currently has over 8 years of leadership in the Navy as well as engineering experience. He is currently serving as the Deputy Accessions Officer here in Millington, Tennessee, and he specializes in recruiting and mentoring future civil engineers. He is a licensed professional electrical engineer, and he holds a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Eastern Washington University. And so, without further ado, Lieutenant is going to be talking about the different ways that you can get involved with the Civil Engineering Corps in the United States Navy, some career roles and responsibilities, some leadership opportunities, the pay and benefits, and career growth, as well as deployment and duty station info, and some personal career, his own personal career journey. This is just a quick agenda of today's session, and I'm so excited to have Lieutenant take away this session. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hi. Thank you for the introduction. Like was said, I am Lieutenant Caleb Osborne. I have been a CEC Civil Engineer Corps officer for 8 years. And so I'm going to talk about the ways to commission as an officer in the Navy, and then also what we do on a day-to-day basis, and then overall what we do for the Navy and the Marine Corps. So our agenda for today, we'll talk about what a CEC officer is and what we do on a day-to-day basis and throughout the Navy and the Marine Corps. CEC commissioning requirements, so path to commissioning, collegiate or direct accession, degree requirements, and waivers if waivers are needed. Also talking about post-commissioning and then the benefits of the Navy and life after the Navy. So what is a CEC officer, Civil Engineer Corps officer? We are a naval officer first and foremost. We are a professional. We are a leader and a mentor. We are an upstanding citizen, and we are naval officers first and foremost. We are also engineers and architects. So if you come into the Navy with a professional engineering degree or a registered architecture license, then that's great. But we will also, if you don't come in with one of those licensing, we will give you the opportunity to get one of those licensing. We also have continuous technical education. So throughout your career, or even just your 4 years in the Civil Engineer Corps, we will have you take continuous education, making sure that you're staying familiar with what the civilian world is doing, as well as other engineering and architecture professionals. We're also business professionals. So we do a lot of contracting. So we abide by the Federal Contracting Authority. We also do a lot of budget organization and management for the Navy and the Marine Corps, and we also dive into risk management and business analysis throughout our jobs. So what does the CEC officer do? So these are our three primary jobs. We do a lot more than this, but we're going to go over these three primary jobs for the CEC and the Navy. So we are facility engineers, we are expeditionary engineers, and then we also do staff and programming admin jobs as well, and we'll dive into each of these. Facility engineers, as mentioned, we do a lot of facility management, facility engineering. We'll dive into that in the next slide. So we are construction and contract managers. We have a vast array of different construction contracts and construction that we do throughout the Navy. We are also the technical representative for the contracting officer. So that means we have to know how contracts work, making sure that each contractor and subcontractor are making the right decisions, doing construction safely, and make sure they are following the design specifications and requirements of that contract. Like I said earlier, we do fall under the Federal Acquisition Regulation, so we get to learn about that, and that's used Department DoD-wide. So that's a good thing to have if you want to get into Department of Defense jobs in the future. In these jobs, we also do base utilities, maintenance, and planning. That includes all power systems, drinking water, wastewater, and HVAC systems. You can look at a Navy base or a Marine Corps base as a small city, and so we have to maintain all of that. That includes maintaining and repairing the ground maintenance, the ports, the airfields, the runways, the roads. We maintain it all with our civilian counterparts as well as contractors, and then us as well, and our enlisted counterparts as well. So here's showing a few of our mega projects. We have projects well over $100,000 that we do, and this is just 7 of a handful of those projects. For example, number 1, we did a South Airfield Complex build out. So this was essentially building a airfield in China Lake to support our aviation community, and it was a $738 million contract that one of our officers was a construction manager on. Number 2 is Pier 5. This was in Yokosuka, Japan, a $100 million project. We essentially took an open water right by the shore, and we built a pier that helped our surface warfare ships allow them to dock and do their mission. And then you can see the other jobs on here. Like I said, this is only just a handful of the jobs, the mega projects that we have. Expeditionary engineering is another huge role that we have. So we will dive into that next. So our primary expeditionary engineering role is to lead the CBs, which are the construction battalions. They are deployable construction forces in support of contingency construction, disaster relief, and humanitarian assistance. CEC officers lead those units, whether it's building advanced base construction, repairing airfields, ports, and roads, underwater construction, training exercises. Right now, we're doing a lot of humanitarian assistance and diplomacy, working with different countries and building a lot of different projects out there, and then also building schools and medical clinics. And one thing we also see when natural disasters happen, we go and support, obviously with our construction experience and our management experience, we can help in natural disaster relief. For example, when I was in deployment, or when I was in a construction battalion, I traveled to Papua New Guinea for 5 months on deployment, and we were helping build a dental facility and a boat maintenance facility to support the Papua New Guinea Defense Force and the local citizens of Papua New Guinea. The U.S. Marine Corps engineering support. So we work very closely with the U.S. Marine Corps in liaisoning, looking for projects that our engineering forces, our CBs, and our civil engineer corps officers can help with. We are on almost every Marine Corps base around the world, and so we help and support their engineering teams as well. We also are the logistics branch of the Spec War, so we're integrated and deploy with special warfare units, so like SEAL teams, and so we're there to help with logistical support as their personnel need. We also do staff, joint, and special duty jobs. So one of the special duty jobs we have, you could be an instructor at the Naval Academy, teaching calculus and physics at a low level. We have other instructor billets or jobs that you can fill. We can also be the executive assistant or the admiral's aide, and essentially this means that you're coordinating, helping high-ranking officers travel, and it also provides a unique window into that top-level decision-making and mentoring that you'll see as an admiral's aide or an executive assistant. We also do inter-service agency support. So we also do the facility management for the White House, the Naval Observatory, and Camp David. And we also are embedded into the Pentagon plans and policies. So we hit all sorts of different levels when it comes to inter-service and agency support outside of just construction and contracting. We also are accession officers and detailers. So myself, I'm the Deputy Accession Officer, as mentioned. And so we also shape the future for our CEC and continue to grow. We have construction, over $12 billion of construction. And so we're continually growing, continuing needing more leaders and CEC officers to join our forces to continue that construction and contracting. So active duty officer requirements. So minimum requirements is a U.S. citizen. You do have to be a U.S. citizen for our officer program, 19 to 36 years old, pursuing or obtained an ABET accredited engineering degree or a NAB accredited architecture degree. 2.7 GPA is the minimum, and 45 OER, which OER is something that you will do after you talk with the recruiter. They will get you that test, just general algebra questions and reading and language questions that you'll go through. I will say there are waivers for most of these, as you can see on the slides. So if you are interested, please reach out to a recruiter and they can help you answer those questions if you're qualified. Ideal candidate on the right side, GPA of 3.0, an OER score of 49. And we also do look at employment, part-time jobs, full-time jobs, engineering internships, and then also your extracurricular activities and leadership. So we're looking at all those aspects of this community. So degree accepted. So as mentioned, for architects, we're looking for NAB accredited degrees. We do have waivers for Bachelor's of Science in Architectural Studies. So if that's a degree that you have, continue to look into the program if you're interested. For engineers, as mentioned, ABET accredited degrees, typically bachelor degrees, but there are some master degrees. And then engineering degrees. So as mentioned, we take any engineering. So it doesn't have to be just civil engineers. We take architects, civil, chemical, electrical, environmental, mechanical, and structural, to name a few. Myself, I have a bachelor's in electrical engineering. So we take a vast majority of people. And the reason for that is we want people who know how to problem solve, know how to think on their feet and troubleshoot. And if you're working towards an architecture degree or an engineering degree, we know that you're someone that can work on their feet, troubleshoot, and problem solve. So I will pause for a minute. If you guys do have questions, I know we're going through a lot of information, so please post those questions in the chat so we can answer those questions at the end. We'll have time. So here just shows, just quickly go over ABET EAC. So EAC stands for Engineering Accreditation Commission. That is our requirement to come in. But if you have for example, a civil engineering technology degree, you may be, a waiver would be required, but you still may be interested, or you still may be qualified to join our program, as shown on the screen. For architects, this just shows the NAB website, and you can go in, look up your school, look up your program, and see if your degree is NAB accredited. So our overall pipeline. So from now, your first step would be applying and talking with a recruiter. And so application and board process, we do have a board every 2 months. And so that timeline, usually we try to stick within 2 to 4 months from when you're interested to getting you to a board to getting you selected into our program. And once you're selected into our program, there are 2 paths that you can take. One would be a direct accession. So this would be for candidates that have graduated or are 3 months until graduation. And then after that, you'll go to officer candidate school. There is another program where it's called the collegiate program, and you can be a collegiate candidate for 24 months. And so you are going to be getting E6 pay, which includes all the benefits of that, basic allowance for housing, allowance for subsidies, and pay, and dental and medical benefits throughout up to 24 months finishing your degree. You may have heard of ROTC. This is not like ROTC. It is not a scholarship. It is just you're getting E6 pay as you're completing your degree, and so no drill, no cutting your hair. It's basically just a urine analysis twice a year, making sure you're staying physically fit, meeting the Navy standards and requirements, and that's it. Making sure your grades are keeping your grades above a 2.7 GPA. Once you've completed either the collegiate program or you're a direct accession, you'll go to a 14-week officer candidate school. What I look at this as a officer boot camp. It is 14 weeks at Newport, Rhode Island, and is the Naval Officer Indoctrination schooling that you'll go through. Once you've completed that, that's when you will commission as an officer, and you will go to CECOS, which is Civil Engineer Corps Officer School in Port Hueneme, California, for 16 weeks. This is a classroom environment where you're going to be learning about contracting, public works, utilities, construction battalions, and all the basics that you're going to need for your probably your first and second job in the Civil Engineer Corps. This is just shows our career progression. The great thing is, as you come into the Navy, you are approximately going to be getting about $80,000 in pay, but that quickly increases because each year for the first 4 years, you get a pay increase. And then at year 2, you will make Lieutenant JG or O2, and then at year 4, you'll make Lieutenant. So by year 4, you're making well over $100,000 in our program and as a naval officer. You can see on the bottom in the light blue, these are typical facility management and acquisition jobs that we have, starting with project engineer, construction manager, and assistant public works officer, and then typical expeditionary billets or jobs in the lower green, which is platoon commander, detailer officer in charge. So when I was in Papua New Guinea, I was the officer in charge of a team of 21 enlisted sailors, and then company commander, a team, you would be in charge of about 40 to 60 enlisted within a construction battalion. So here, shown on the screen, there are these are the locations where you could be stationed. This obviously expands the entire world. You can see all the different locations within the U.S. and internationally. I will say this is where you can be stationed, but in a construction battalion where you're deploying, we deploy all over the world. You can take any country and you could deploy to that country. And so if you want to see the world, this may be the job for you. Like it shows, you can. We have a lot of jobs in Europe and a lot of jobs in Japan right now, but each of these countries you could be stationed at. So one of the other benefits of our community is if you do not have your master's degree or you want to look into getting a second master's degree, we will push you towards getting a postgraduate school degree, a master's degree in one of your fields or one of the other engineering or fields shown here. Usually it's between 7 and 10 years of service. You're going to go into this. That is going to be your full-time job. So tuition is going to be covered. You will maintain your full salary and benefits, and you will be full-time student. That will be your day-to-day job, and so that it does require career progression, but at 7 to 10 years, that opportunity will be available. Some of the other benefits right here. As mentioned, we strive to have our officers get their registered architecture or professional engineering degree. We will provide funding or a reimbursement for a prep course for either of those exams. And then also, if you pass the exam, you will get reimbursed for the exam fee. So that can save up to $3,000 in the prep course and the exam. And as mentioned earlier, continuous education and certification. I will say one big difference between the Civil Engineer Corps and the civilian world, my first job as a construction manager, I was managing $70 million worth of construction. And so you won't see that level of management for 5 to 10 years in the civilian world. And so as you come in, you're coming in as a commissioned officer, so you're coming in as middle management. And so you have the roles and responsibilities right away from day one, and you'll get to see that. And so I tell that to people because if you stay in for 4 years or stay in for 20 years, you have a great resume to show the civilian world outside, saying, hey, this is what I managed, this is what I did for the Navy for all those years. Other benefits, as mentioned, over $100,000 within 4 years, 30 days of paid vacation leave every year, GI Bill that can be passed on to your dependents, so your children, your spouse, and then purchasing a home with a VA loan, obviously 401k and pension if you stay in for 20 years, and veteran status after 2 years of service. Life after the Navy. So as mentioned, there's so many benefits that you grow in the CEC. You are not only building your leadership experience, your managerial skills, communication, problem solving, and professional qualifications. So we are very competitive on the civilian world after we complete our civil engineering officer career, or if you even stay in for 4 years, we are very competitive in the civilian world. Thank you. That completes my presentation. Now we'll go into a time, I believe, of Q&A.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Osborne, for this fantastic presentation. I've learned so much. And again, we'll now open the floor up to questions. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them down in the chat, and we'll answer them as they come in. So the first question we have is, does bioengineering with an ABET certification meet the requirements?
Yes. Bioengineering, I actually talked to a guy over the weekend or over last week with a bioengineering, and if it's ABET accredited, then yes, that is qualifying.
Awesome. Okay, so you kind of went over it briefly, but I wanted to have a more specific question for you regarding the collegiate opportunity. So how much time do you have to have left in school for you to actually use the collegiate CEC opportunity?
Right. So our requirement is up to 24 months. So you can get paid for 24 months in our collegiate program with E6 pay, and that includes all the benefits that come with that. You are essentially a reservist on active duty orders during that time. And so we will have you build what we call an academic degree completion plan. And so that will be signed by your academic advisor, showing us that you have either 24 months or less to complete your qualifying degree.
Okay, I did see that it said a minimum of 4 months is required.
Yes. So if you have less than 3 months or less of your degree, and you're going to complete your degree in 3 months, then you will not be in as a collegiate. You will be in as a direct accession. So essentially, instead of getting pay right away, you will enlist right before you go to officer candidate school, and then during officer candidate school, you will get E5 pay, and then once you complete officer candidate school or OCS, you will enlist, and then you'll get O1 pay.
Okay. So does the Navy also offer student loan repayment program for a CEC?
We don't. I will say we do have all student loans have the public service loan forgiveness. So if you stay in as a government employee, which obviously military qualifies for that, if you stay in for 10 years, then that you would qualify for that, and then the rest of your loans are reimbursed. But no, the Navy does not have any program for reimbursement.
Okay, that was really good information right there. Along the lines of staying in for 10 years to access this benefit, what are the required, how do I say this? What are the required or minimum contract that you can stay in? Is it 4 years? Is it 6 years?
Oh, good question. So So our requirement is 4 years active duty and 4 years reservist. And so that is our obligation that you would be signing up for. I tell people it's an obligation, but it's also a good, steady job where you're learning skills, you're building your skills, you're going towards licensing. And so 4 years is, you will have a job for 4 years, and then you'll go into the reservists, or you'll stay in and continue your career in the CEC. But at 4 years, active duty is the minimum requirement.
Awesome. That's a lot to get done in 4 years. Okay. We do have some more questions coming in the chat. One person is asking, what physical expectations are there for the officer candidate school?
Yeah, great question. So officer candidate school, you're going to be doing a lot of different physical activities. The requirements for the overall Navy is our PRT, our physical readiness test. And so that encompasses about 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of plank, forearm plank, and then a 1.5-mile run. At OCS, Officer Candidate School, you will be performing those throughout those 3 months at Officer Candidate School, but you will also be doing a lot of other stuff, carrying big bags, doing more push-ups, doing other runs. So how we tell people to train for that is similar to like CrossFit. Also working on planks, push-ups, and running. But you're doing a lot of other mobile activities, so doing marching, doing push-ups, and other physical activities. But mainly it's the 3 PRT standards.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, the other question that we have is, I have a degree in mechanical engineering, and am currently going through a master's program in computer science. Am I eligible with such background?
Good question. So you would be eligible. So depending on how long you have for your master's degree, you are eligible regardless. But if you want to join our collegiate program for a master's degree, if your bachelor's degree is a qualifying degree, which it sounds like it would be in mechanical engineering, you can stay a master's degree collegiate for up to 12 months. So if you have, for example, you have 18 months left in your master's degree, then I would recommend applying now, but we would only pay you that E6 pay for 12 months of your master's degree.
Okay, awesome. Another question we have is, are urban planning students eligible to apply for a Civil Engineering Corps collegiate program?
So urban planning, so for example, a bachelor's of urban planning, you would not be qualified. One thing you can look at doing, if you already have your degree, is getting your EIT, your engineering and training. And so there are ways, as I mentioned, to get a waiver put in place. So if you are interested and you have a degree that's maybe not engineering exactly, or an engineering technology degree, I would recommend still reaching out and applying, and they will provide you more information. So yeah, we do have waiver possibilities, but it just depends on your background and what other qualifications you have.
Okay, they also mentioned that as a city or urban planning graduate, what task will they be doing as a Navy civil engineer? You kind of went over some things that different CEC candidates or officers do. So if you guys would like to, after this session is over, feel free to click the link and watch the video again. I did want to ask some other questions. So you mentioned that you will get some certifications while you are a civil engineering engineer. Will these certifications reflect or carry over into the civilian world?
So a lot of them will. So for the professional engineering license, absolutely. The registered architecture, absolutely. Prior to getting your PE, you have to get what is called an engineering and training, an EIT certificate. And so that will follow you into the civilian world. We also have a lot of contracting certifications that we get. If you're going to work in the government after your time in the CEC, those contracting certifications can roll over depending on your job. One of the other big certifications that we look at getting is public works. And so we do a lot of public works, utilities. And so this doesn't exactly translate over to the civilian world, but a lot of the classes and a lot of things that you learn in those classes that knowledge will pass over to whether it's other government jobs or you're going to work for a public works department in a city or something. So some do and some don't.
Okay, good stuff. All right. There's two more questions that I have. Someone did mention about the new POC program, and is it explicitly different? So yes, this is not the same as nuclear propulsion officers. This is specifically engineering, civil engineering core. Okay, that's a really great question, because as one of the accessions program managers here, I like to do these sessions to get you all more information, so that can be another session that we can do. If you guys have any suggestions for other officer programs that you would like to hear about, feel free to put it down below in the chat. Also, the question I have is, you can use many different degrees to join as a CEC officer. Does the degree that they come in with immediately or directly mean that they're going to be doing that specific thing in?
Good question. Yeah, so as a civil engineer corps officer, that's what you are. Like I mentioned, I came in with an electrical engineering degree, but I'm going to be doing the same work as someone coming in with a civil engineering degree, or as mentioned, a bioengineering degree. There are aspects where you can use your skills. So I'll give a quick example. I was in Port Hueneme, California, as an assistant public works officer. And our electrical system for the port went down. And so as an electrical engineer, I knew how to speak the language, work with our electricians, and help get that troubleshoot and problem solve so we could get power back to the ships. So you will have the same job as any engineer or architect in our program, but you can use those skills depending on what your role is to further better the Navy, better the utilities that you're working on, or the systems you're working on. So, but again, you will have the same job regardless of your degree.
Okay. All right, we got some more questions rolling in. Someone asked, I'm not sure how long I have until I complete my mechanical engineering degree. Should I still apply for the collegiate program even if I potentially go over 24 months?
So if you think you're close to 24 months, I would reach out to us. The first step would be getting in contact with a recruiter. And so that recruiter will provide you the documentation. As you know, or may know, you have to go through a medical review, a legal review, and all the different reviews prior to applying to come to one of our OCS boards to either get selected or not selected. So there is some time. As mentioned, it takes 2 to 4 months or 2 to 12 months, depending on your situation, to apply for our program. So I would say, I tell people about 30 months out, they should look at applying because it does take some time to get through the process. And that recruiter will provide you with documentation, as mentioned, the academic degree completion plan document. So you can go to your academic advisor and then they can work through how long it's going to take you to graduate and see if you're qualified for that 24 months.
Awesome. We have another question. They asked, so 10 years is the minimum requirement?
No, so 10 years is not the minimum requirement. 4 years active duty is the minimum requirement. And so if you got in, whether it's the collegiate program or the direct accession program, the obligation is 4 months active duty. So that's 4 months full-time job, and then 4 months, 4 years active duty, and then 4 years in the reservist side where you're going out and you're able to get another job, but you'll be in the Navy reservist program.
Okay, someone did ask about relocation for OCS. Can you talk a little bit more about where that's held at?
Yes, absolutely. So OCS, Officer Candidate School, is held in Newport, Rhode Island. And so I do get this question a lot. Can I bring spouse, can I bring dependents to Officer Candidate School? The answer there is no. So they will relocate you to Officer Candidate School. Most likely you'll get on a plane, fly there, and then you'll start your training, usually on a Sunday. And once you've got there, then you have 3 months of training. After that training, you'll go to CEC, Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, and there you can bring your spouse, you can bring your dependents to CEC.
Okay, where's CEC located at?
That's in Port Hueneme, California.
Okay.
On Naval Base Ventura County.
Okay. Someone asked if there was an age limit eligibility.
There is, yeah. So our age limit is between 19 and 36, but that can get waived up to 42 years old.
Okay. All right, and the last question I have is, does the time spent in the collegiate program count towards the reserve commitment?
So the collegiate program, it does not count towards that 4-year requirement or the reserve commitment or commitment time. That collegiate time does count for retirement, though. So if you stayed in, if you were in the collegiate program for 2 years and you stayed in for 18 years, then you would be eligible for retirement. So, but it does not qualify for that 4 years active duty or the 4 years reservist requirement for signing up.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you all so much for attending today's session. I really appreciate you all for being here. I want to make sure that you guys know that in the description, you'll be able to see the CEC job on Handshake. The link for that, you'll be able to also submit your information via the request for information link, also in the description. And if you have any more questions or you want to learn just a little bit more or review one more time the jobs that the CEC for the Navy has to offer, you can also get that link from Navy.com or the link in the description, which goes to Navy.com. Again, I am Shaniqua Dupree, the program manager for the CEC here in Millington, Tennessee. I would love to be able to put you guys in direct contact with the recruiter. And the way that I can do that the best is if you go ahead and fill out that request for information form. And so whether you're starting your career or you're looking for some big moves to do as an engineer, the CEC program is definitely a place where you can get that started. And so thanks again to Lieutenant Osborne for joining us today and spending your time with us.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good one, y'all.